guys, and welcome to Simply Made by Erin, my crochet channel. Today we're making this beautiful blanket. It's called the Braided Puff Blanket. It has this beautiful braided puff stitch and it kind of looks like hearts, so I decided to release it during Valentine's Day, but honestly it can be year-round depending on the colors you chose. I have 3 stripes of colors on both size blankets. This is the baby blanket. It also comes in a throw size. I'm gonna pop some pictures up here so you can get the full effect. I can't really fit this in my camera very well, but it's made with Bernat Blanket yarn. If you guys are familiar with Bernat Blanket yarn, you know it comes in a ton of colors. So I will pop the colors up on the screen and all the yardage that I use so you guys have that. So Bernat Blanket yarn is a size 6 super bulky yarn. It's 100% polyester and it's really, really soft and works great for blankets. So besides the yarn, all you'll need is an 8mm crochet hook, a tapestry needle to weave your ends in, a pair of scissors, and a flexible measuring tape to check your gauge. I'm gonna get all set up and we are going to create just a small swatch. There's a lot of repeats in the blankets, so I'm just gonna do a small swatch so that it'll fit nicely in the screen, but I will give you all the stitch counts for both the baby blanket size and the throw size. And as always, the pattern is free on my blog and I will have it linked in the caption below. Okay, so let's get started. So you need a tail long enough to weave your end in, about 6-8 inches, and then you create a slip knot. We are going to start with a foundation chain. The foundation chain is worked in multiples of 6. So you can do any amount of chains to make the length, or actually it's the width of your blanket that you desire. Just make sure it's in multiples of 6 and then add 1 extra chain for your turning chain. So if you're working on the baby size, you want to chain 67. If you're working on the throw size, you want to chain 109. For this sample, I want it small to fit in the screen, so I'm going to chain 19 total. So that's 18, which is divisible by 6 plus the 1 extra chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I have my 19 chains. I forgot to mention that if you're comfortable with foundation chains, you can do foundation half double crochet instead of the chain stitches. So if you were gonna do the foundation half double crochet, you want 66 total half double crochet for the baby size and 108 for the throw size. Okay, so once we have our chain, we're going to half double crochet in the second chain from the hook, and we want to work in the back loop, or sorry, not the back loop, the back hump or the back bump of our chain. So if you have your chain pointing towards you, this would be the back loop only. This would be the front loop only. And if you turn it slightly towards you, you'll see another loop. It's a little back hump. I hope you can see it with this blanket yarn. The blanket yarn's hard to see on camera, but you can see there's this back loop or back hump, and that's where we want to work into. And you want the second chain from the hook. So this would be the first chain, this is the second chain. So you turn it, and then we're gonna yarn over, insert our hook under that back hump, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. And you just half double crochet all the way across. So with the blanket yarn, sometimes the loops are kind of hard to see. You kind of can feel around and push your finger. so that you can get your hook under. Okay, so just finish half double crocheting all the way across. For the baby blanket, you should have a total of 66 half double crochet, and for the throw, you would have 108 half double crochet. Okay, so that is what my first row looks like. So rows 2 through 7 are just a row of half double crochet. So I chain 1 and I turn. The beginning chains do not count as a stitch. So when you work your first stitch, you work right into that same stitch that you did the chain 1 from. So we're going to half double crochet all the way across, working under both loops. And you just repeat that until you get 7 rows total. And that would be the same for both the baby and the throw sizes. Again, for the baby, you should have 66 stitches, and for the throw, 108 stitches. Okay, so I have my 7 rows total. We're going to do 1 more row of half double crochet, but we're going to work in the back loop only. So chain 1. If your sides are scrunching up too tight, you can chain 2 if you need to. I feel like the chain 1 makes the sides a lot more even. See how nice and straight those are? So I do kind of a loose chain 1 and then I turn. But if you're kind of a tight crocheter, you might need to chain 2. Okay, so working in the back loop only. So again, this would be the front loop and this would be the back loop. Let me show you a little bit better. It's hard to see with this blanket yarn. So after half double crochet, you kind of turn the work towards you a little bit, and this V that it creates, those are the 2 stitches you normally work under. Right there. So this would be front only, and then this would be the back only. Don't get confused on the half double crochet that this is the front and this is the back loop. You need to kind of turn it a little to find the front and back loop. So yarn over, insert your hook under that back loop only, yarn over, pull up loop, yarn over, pull through 3, and then just repeat that all the way across. This is row 8. The next row, we are going to start that braided puff stitch, and we're going to switch colors. So I'll meet you here at the end and show you how I switch colors. Okay, I finished round 8, that row of half double crochet in the back loop only, and now we're going to start the puff stitch, the braided puff, and switch colors. So let's finish that last stitch. So half double crochet in the back loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, and instead of yarning over and pulling through 3 with that color on your hook, we're going to join our new color. So I'm gonna use this purple yarn. You just leave a tail long enough to weave your ends in, put it on the hook, and pull through those 3 loops. And we just created the color change. You can weave in your ends whenever you want. You can do it throughout the pattern or at the very end. Okay, and now we're gonna chain 2 and then turn. And we're gonna start that puff stitch round or row. Okay, so again, on the puff stitches, when we start that row, I always chain 2 right here. If you find that your work is puckering and the chain 2 is not enough, go ahead and do a chain 3. But when I chain 3, I have a really big gap here. I'm gonna show you on the blanket what I mean. So you can see my ends. See how nice that looks? And these are really straight and even. When I did a chain 3 right here, I had a huge gap right here. But if yours is kind of puckering and making your blanket not even, feel free to do a chain 3 right there. But it should be nice and even and straight, no puckering at all right there. And you really shouldn't have a need to block this at the end. I didn't have to block mine. Mine came out really straight, so. Okay, so for the puff stitch row, we are doing a 7 loop puff stitch, which is basically a series of 3 half double crochet into the same stitch that creates that puff stitch. So chain 2, we're going to skip over the same stitch as the chain 2, and then we're going to skip over that next stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in the next stitch, which will be the 3rd stitch over. We're working under both loops. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. So now we are going to work the puff stitch into the skipped stitch. So the first stitch we chained out of, so technically we're counting that as a stitch over there. We're not going to count this as a skipped stitch. The second stitch that we actually skipped, that's going to be the skip stitch that we're going to work into. So we are going to do that puff stitch. So you yarn over, cross over the front of your work and insert your hook into that skip stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. When you pull the loop up, you want to elongate your hook to where it's horizontal. You don't want it down like that. You want to pull it up till it's nice and straight and horizontal. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook into that skipped stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of hard to see that, but we have 5 loops on the hook. Okay, and then one more time, yarn over, insert your hook into that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You should have 7 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, yarn over and pull through all 7 loops on the hook. And that's what it looks like. And then we are going to chain 1. And then we're going to skip that next stitch, this one right here, and half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, you basically repeat that process all the way across. So half double crochet, and then do a puff stitch in the skipped stitch right here. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert your stitch or your hook into that skip stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then one more time. Okay, and then pull through all 7 and then chain 1. So go ahead and repeat that all the way across. You'll have 1 stitch that remains. I'll meet you and show you how we finish the end off. Okay, so that first row of puff stitches is done. It is fine if it looks a little wavy. It'll come together in the next row. You should have 1 stitch that remains, and then you just half double crochet in that last stitch. Okay. So if you are working the baby size, make sure that you have 32 puff stitches total. And if you're working on the throw, you will want 53 puff stitches total. Make sure to count and make sure you have enough so you didn't skip a stitch somewhere. If you skipped one or added one, it's going to throw off the next row. So make sure that's correct. And then we're going to do another row of puff stitches and you'll see it come together. So chain 2. Again, like I mentioned before, if you need that 3rd chain because yours is just getting too tight, go ahead and do that. But I would try it with 2 at first and then finish both rows and see how you like it. Okay, turn the work. And basically we're doing almost the same as this last puff stitch row, but you're gonna be working in these chain spaces instead. So after you chain 2, you're gonna skip the next chain space. So the chain spaces are the spaces here that are created when you chain. So this is the first, here's another chain space. So you work under the space instead of in a stitch. So you work all the way into this space. So right there, right there. Okay, so we're gonna skip over that first chain space. So right here, we're gonna half double crochet in the next chain space. Okay. And then we're gonna go back in and create the puff in this first chain space that we skipped over. So yarn over, insert your hook in that entire space, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then do that 3 more times for that puff stitch. Sorry, 2 more times for a total of 3 times. So make sure you have the 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 7. So that's what it looks like. Okay, chain 1. And now we're going to half double crochet in this next chain space. This one we already worked into, so we're not considering that the next space to skip. You want to move over here. So half double crochet. Okay. And then we're going to go back to this space and do a puff stitch there. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and then do that 2 more times. Okay, and then chain 1. So see how the puffs line up right on top of each other? So you're going to do that all the way across. Again, come over here to this space, half double crochet, and then go into this space and work that puff stitch. Okay, so repeat that all the way across, and when we get to the end, I'll show you how we finish the end off. Okay, so I'm at the very end. We have 1 puff stitch left. So chain 1. Okay, so we're going to half double crochet in this last chain space right here. Okay, and then we're going to do the puff stitch in this space right there. Make sure you don't forget that last puff stitch. You need the same amount of puff stitches that you had in that previous row. So again, 32 for the baby blanket, 53 for the throw size. Okay, now you're gonna half double crochet in the top of the chain 2 space. So the chain 2 is right here. It's kind of hard to see with the baby blanket. So also don't forget that last half double crochet. It's kind of like you're working in this section right here twice, but you do need both those stitches. Okay, and it's going to seem tight like it's puckering, but it does come together. Okay, so before I complete that half double crochet, we're going to switch colors again. So I forgot to fasten off my other one. Okay, so take the new yarn color, put it on the hook, and pull it through those 3 loops. Okay, we just switched colors. Like I said, you can weave these in later or do it now. Okay, that's what it looks like. So you can see the puff stitch came together. It's not all wavy anymore, and it looks really nice. Okay, so now the rest of the pattern is going to be a lot of repeats. So for row 10, we're gonna chain 2. Sorry, I believe it's chain 1. Sorry, we're on row 11. We're gonna chain 1 and turn. Okay, and then we're going to work 2 half double crochet in each chain space across. So again, find those chain spaces right there, right there, right there. And just do a regular half double crochet in each of those chain spaces. Let me kind of slow it down for you guys. So find the chain space. And then just 2 half double crochet. Okay, so for the baby size, you'll have a total of 66 half double crochet, the throw size 108 half double crochet. Okay, don't forget this last chain space right here. So 2 more half double crochet in that last chain space. And you can see that my edge is nice and straight. If it's really puckering like that, definitely try the chain 3. But I just do my chains kind of loose, and I like the way the ends look better doing only a chain 2 right here and then a chain 1 on the half double crochet ends. Okay, so row 12, we're gonna repeat row 8. So chain 1, and it's just a half double crochet in the back loop only. So find that back loop and half double crochet all the way across. Okay, so that's what the back loop half double crochet looks like. Chain 1 and turn. And rows 13 through 17, we're gonna repeat row 2, which is just a row of half double crochet working under both loops. So do 5 more rows of half double crochet total. Again, for the baby blanket size, you'll have 66 stitches, the throw 108 stitches. Okay, so I finish row 17, chain 1 and turn. And then we're just gonna repeat row 8 again, which is a half double crochet in that back loop only. So just half double crochet in the back loop only all the way across. And then the rest of the pattern is just a repeat all the way down until we get our desired length. Okay, so row 18 is complete. We worked in that back loop only. This is where we'd start the puff stitch again, so you can add your new color. You can do all of your puff stitch stripes in one color. You can use 2 colors, 3 colors, a bunch of different colors. I used 3 different colors, which I included at the beginning of this video, but you can do however you want. So like I said, the rest of the pattern is a repeat. So if you're working on the baby blanket, for rows 19 through 68, you will repeat rows 9 through 18 a total of 5 times. And then on the very final row, just do not work in the back loop. I'm gonna pop this on the screen so that you have it in writing also. For the size throw, rows 19 through 88, you repeat rows 9 through 18 a total of 7 times. And then on that last row, do not work in the back loop. So basically, you're just repeating this over and over again. So you'll repeat starting here, this next row, it's gonna be the braided puff stitch. And then you repeat all the half double crochet instructions and then just repeat that. So a total of 68 rows for the baby, 88 rows for the throw. And that's it. And then you have the finished blanket. You can weave in all your ends. And again, this is what it looks like. Isn't it beautiful? It's so soft and squishy. I love these colors. I made another color combination in the throw, but it's so soft and squishy. If you want, you can add a little personalized tag with your shop name or a little heart or handmade with love. I will link where I get these below. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Have a great day.